Simply put, it is a nightmare. It is a place where evil is everywhere, in every innocent place, such as children's textbooks that explain how to murder Jews and kindergartens that are used as a hiding place for unstable explosives. Hamas is a leech, sucking the life and hope out of the people of the Gaza Strip and replacing it with radical Islam and terrorism. In every corner of Gaza, energy was invested in producing sick Islamic terrorism. This is the truth that you will not hear anywhere else in traditional media sources. So please continue to help us in sharing it on social media, and most importantly, continue to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Another example of this ever-present evil was uncovered by IDF forces deployed in the Gaza Strip. I'm talking about a manual for the use of the substance H-202 that is used to create explosives and fuel for rockets. This substance was discovered during a search in buildings in the Gaza Strip. Like most of you, I'd never heard of H-202 before coming across this report, but it is a material used mainly in hospitals. It is meant to save lives, but Hamas found a way to turn it into a weapon. The manual had instructions in English and Arabic, as well as other languages, for handling H-202. The highly detailed instructions included blueprints and diagrams showing how to build distilleries for adding different substances together to produce rocket propellants, as well as charges and other components for rockets. This manual is one of many pieces of evidence that clearly show in black and white how Hamas is using civilian resources in order to advance its terrorist purposes. This includes many things that are even now entering the Strip under the label of humanitarian aid, meant to help the residents of Gaza, but at the bottom line, assist Hamas terrorists. The IDF has seized more than 100 million files and over 500,000 documents, operational plans, and combat doctrines of Hamas. This mountain of material is even now being investigated and analyzed to study the terrorist organization and make plans to operate against it in the near future. Speaking of operations against Hamas, the fighting continues in the west of Khan Yunis, where the battle team of the Givati Brigade raided the El Kabasiya outpost, which serves as the central Hamas base of the Khan Yunis Brigade and contains many buildings, tunnels, and other infrastructure that is used by Hamas terrorists to conduct operations against Israel. Workshops for fabricating rockets and large quantities of weapons and ammunition, as well as military equipment, were also stored there, as they are in almost every other structure in the Gaza Strip. The El Kabasiya outpost was also used by the terrorist organization Hamas to train the terrorists in carrying out the attack on October 7th. It contains significant training complexes, including a full-scale model of the entrance to the Israeli communities called kibbutzim that were meant to be attacked, as well as IDF military bases and vehicles. This allowed the terrorists to practice attacking these places in Israel. One of the structures of this complex of buildings and tunnels contained the office of Muhammad Sinwar. He is the brother of Yahya Sinwar, the leader of Hamas in the Gaza Strip. The offices of many Hamas officials were also located in this complex. Upon entering the area where these offices were, the IDF forces recognized that it contained explosives meant to destroy it if it was ever in danger of being captured. But our forces got there before the terrorists could activate the explosives, and the combat engineers quickly went to work dismantling the explosive charges. While they are working terror squads of Hamas attempted to attack them with small arms and grenades, and a fierce battle broke out. The terrorists were eliminated with the help of the Air Force and nearby armored units, and a treasure of intelligence materials was recovered from these offices. Large amounts of cash in various currencies, mostly Israeli shekels, have also been found. As I've mentioned before, it is incredible to think about how much time, money, effort, and energy Hamas put into these plans to murder, rape, torture, and destroy these Israeli civilian communities. One can only wonder how much better the lives of ordinary Gazans would be if this time, money, effort, and energy had been directed towards their welfare instead of terrorism against Israel. It's just crazy to think about it. Units of the paratroopers brigade are also operating in Khan Yunis, reporting heavy fighting with Hamas terrorists in the neighborhood of El Amal. Dozens of Hamas positions have been destroyed in the fighting, and as elsewhere, workshops for the productions of weapons as well as large quantities of finished weapons have been discovered and destroyed by the IDF forces. Although small numbers of terrorists have continued to surrender over the past days, many more have apparently decided that they will not be taken alive and have attacked IDF troops in an apparent desire to go down fighting. Many of them have gone down in battles that include close-range shootouts with IDF infantry units. In the north and center of the Gaza Strip, the divisional combat teams of the Nachal Brigade has been hard at work, methodically dismantling Hamas terror infrastructure. Dozens of terrorists have been eliminated in fierce battles over the past days, and as elsewhere, stocks of weapons, ammunition, and other instruments of terrorism have been found and destroyed. In one of the incidents in the Shati area, female fighters from Unit 414 identified a number of terrorists who were trying to transport weapons, but the female soldiers quickly called in an airstrike which eliminated the threat. The Givati Brigade and the IDF 646th Brigade combat team have also engaged in several pitched battles in the area with similar results. Although IDF operations in the north and center of the Gaza Strip have produced great results in terms of eliminating the threats to Israel from Hamas, there is still one large concentration of Hamas in the southern city of Rafah. This city is located near the border with Egypt. It also contains hundreds of thousands of Gazan civilians who will have to be evacuated before the IDF can move in and eliminate the remaining Hamas formations. The work of cleaning out the Gaza Strip from terrorists and massive quantities of weapons, ammunition, rockets, and military equipment they have stored there over the years is very dangerous, but at the same time, it is also very tedious. Imagine that the people in your house start getting sick, and you realize it's because there's a big mess down in the basement, which you haven't gone down into for a very long time. So you go down there to clean it out, and you find all kinds of mold, rotten foods, and garbage that someone should have thrown away a long time ago. Now imagine that while you're trying to clean up this mess, mice and insects keep popping out of every hole and around every pile of junk to try and bite you. That's what this is like. As I said before, the Gaza Strip is a place where every thought was bent towards terrorism for many, many years. And the job of cleaning it up is going to take a long time, and it will continue to be very dangerous for a long time. So please pray for the IDF soldiers who are tasked with this vital mission to clear up the Gaza Strip from terrorists. Switching focus to the northern front, where the Iranian-backed Hezbollah terrorist group has been firing rockets and anti-tank missiles into Israel with increasing frequency in recent days. The IDF has struck back, including with airstrikes on Hezbollah positions in the areas of the village of Yaron in southern Lebanon and other positions in the area of the village of Maroun el-Ras. Over 200 enemy combatants have been removed from the battlefield by the IDF in the months since Hezbollah began firing into Israel in support of the Hamas terrorist organization in the Gaza Strip. IDF reports indicate that many of the Hezbollah fighters who had been deployed along the border before the 7th of October attacks have retreated further north, but the threat of a large conflict in the north is still very real, and it's another issue we ask you to be praying for every day. We have faith that God is in control, and we will complete the mission that is set before us. Please continue to pray for the peace of the IDF soldiers and the peace of Israel, and spread the word and continue to help us sharing the truth of what is happening in Israel, so that the world will know the truth and will join us in prayer for the peace of Jerusalem.